been said about how to publish, how to leave an impact, and how to go about it. But what I think is the most important question that needs to be answered is why to publish? Most of the people sitting here will be saying that I have a good private practice, I am earning well, why do I really need to publish? I present well in conferences, I share data on social media as it was explained yesterday. The simple answer is, if it is not published, it didn't happen. Because publication is the only process which has a peer review in it. So if it is not published, it didn't happen. Now, we come to an era in which patients will not ask you for your outcomes and will not ask you for your percentage of seventh nerve saving or hearing preservation or something like that. They will look you up. If your published data says that you have a seventh nerve preservation rate or a hearing preservation rate, then yes, you did it. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. Finally, don't do it for anyone else. Do it for yourself. Why, don't you ever get thinking that why don't I get invited to such talks, or why don't I get accepted to fellowship programs? The reason is everyone on this panel, even the final speaker that is going to speak with me, even the panelists here have an H index of more than 10 and a citations of more than 500. That is why they are sitting here. Okay, now you're convinced, right? So you found a quirky case report that you had done recently. You copy the case file and you submit to NEJ, where else, obviously. And the editor summarily rejects you. You hurl the choicest of abuses to him, and you get an email in your inbox using the same email that you had published, asking you to publish in a cardiology journal, despite you being a neurosurgeon, giving you a very small deadline, massaging your ego, saying that they have immense interest in your publications and like you have been the next Nobel Prize winner. Once you get this, you publish it. And don't be mistaken, you are not alone. Even Carnegie Mellon has fallen into this trap. And you are finally a star. You put in an application and it gets rejected. But why so, you are asking yourself? This is because what you have published in is a predatory journal. A predatory journal is a journal which will forego a peer review process for monetary gains. So why publishing in them is bad? You know, you're just publishing. So I'll take my own example. So we had published this article of stationary binder clips being used in place of Rene clips and Dandy's clips for scalp hemostasis. Somebody else did the same thing using syringes. He got citations which were not useful, and sadly or not so sadly, he cut down on our citations, cutting down on our legitimate research. Everyone wants to be et al. The academic superstar who has multiple citations. You know, so these predatory journals tend to take advantage of this. As of current date, there are more than 40,000 predatory journals who have more than 5 lakh articles being published. Even if they earn 1,000 rupees per article, you can understand the economics here. An extreme example was few researchers in UK used 7 words, which I cannot really pronounce here, and published an article in predatory journals complete with flowcharts and graphs. And the article was said to have significant scientific value. So, have we not done anything about this? No. University Grants Commission of India has published a whitelist and a blacklist of predatory journals. Some senior editors are part of editorial boards of these journals and they don't even know about it. The magnitude is such that India is considered the predatory capital of the world, followed closely by USA, and even some academic institutions have been named in this. Previous to the talk starting, somebody had told how many names do you want on PubMed? Well, I'm here to tell you PubMed is not sacrosanct. This is because predatory journals are into PubMed also. This is again because most of us don't understand what is PubMed, PubMed Central and Medline. Medline is something which needs more than 4 associations to accept a journal. It is a very, very difficult process to get into. PubMed is something which accepts journals which have National Institute of Health acceptance and which have certain funding with them. And PubMed Central or PubMed search engine that you use is a different beast altogether. Why? Because PubMed search engine only requires an ISSN number which anybody can get. They will use a legitimate journal such as Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery and Psychiatry, copy their 2-year publication history, copy the 25 citations needed, put it in an application and use a name. Can you guess? It is International Journal of Neurosurgery and Psychiatry, which is almost the same. PubMed will accept it. So what will happen is that they'll send you an article, they'll send you an email saying that please publish in our journal, you're a neurosurgeon, still you can publish in immunology. They'll send you a link, and when you click on that link, voila, there'll be so many articles here. But if you look at the keywords closely, it is just medical research. Medical research can be anything. So what do? Start using your own brain for a change. You start seeing the articles or seeing the journals. They will have engineering articles, they will have medical articles in the same. Can this ever happen? They'll ask you to join their editorial team, only if it was this easy to join an editorial team. They will ask you for WhatsApp contacts, they will ask you to contact them. It is not easy to contact the editor of a journal, believe me. So they will have corporate addresses which don't even exist. Of course, they don't want to find you, you know. They will have testimonials from authors. No legit journal needs testimonials. They are already burdened with so many articles. If you start reading the articles, you'll find introduction, case description. Oh, where's the discussion? Where's the conclusion? But it is published. They'll cite index Copernicus, which was just a sham index. I'm telling you clearly, it is just a sham index. They'll get index in ABCD index, which doesn't even get, is not even accepted anywhere. Again, they'll give you a shorter deadline. Once the deadline has passed, they'll give you discounts on their APCs. But the APC, if you notice, is never mentioned on any of these articles. Once this is done, you are here, they will again tell that we have read your recent publications, they are mind-blowing, they have a good amount of impact. They will even, to convince you, cite your previous article and use them to even publish in immunology journals. Once this is done, what they will ask you is that, my email handle is of Gmail. How can an email handle be of Gmail if the journal is legitimate? Here the email handle is online paper store. Do you think a journal will have an email handle of online paper store? And you know you have really hit rock bottom when Sleeping Beauty gets published in General Surgery Reports. So what do you do? The easy way out is, read my article. It is 25 red flags published for every pediatric journal. It is the highest cited article in ACTA for the past 3 years. There's another solution. Go to the UGC website. There's a whitelist of 71 journals which is there, which are legitimate and can be published in. But pediatric journals have beaten you to that path. They have taken down the UGC website by spamming it. They will have mirror UGC websites which you think will be legitimate, but they won't. There's another path, think, check, submit. This is a good checklist to go through before you publish anything. And lastly, ask someone who has published well to which journal you should submit. And if nothing else works, you can always email me. So now we want to publish in a legitimate journal, we know everything, but I keep getting rejected. Find something in the known hemisphere which is unknown. When I was in my residency, I used to see shunts going everywhere. So I thought, is it our mistake or are the shunt points only described in Caucasian skulls? So what I tried to was to be evolutionary, not revolutionary in my ideas. Always concentrate on your study design. Data has to be at the center of your publication history or at the center of your research. Once I got it published, I still thought, why is it not getting cited? Because I had missed the second question. So what if I had found an important point in Indian skulls? It doesn't matter because I haven't proved in prospectively. People were still using Fraser's point. Many people, many senior researchers will tell you that discussion is the most important part of the article. I'm here to tell you, sadly, it is not. Many reviewers will only just read your title. If you're lucky, the abstract. If you're very lucky, the conclusion. Conclusion cannot have unnecessary lines that it is important to improve cultural knowledge and important to have good health policy. It doesn't matter at all. Write your abstract again and again while you're writing your article. And please, for God's sake, avoid spelling mistakes that I had here. So finally, if you really want to get your article published, have the article which is enjoyable to read and have 1 or 2 key messages. Every word, every line in that article should be towards that key message. Avoid statistical jargon unless it is actually really required. Send in good photographs, don't have your hand showing, don't take mobile photographs of the X-ray. And this is one slide which I will be really embarrassed to say, but what they don't tell you is, start citing articles from the same journal who have relevance in your own article. This will help in 2 things. It will help know the editor that you have read the journal, you have read the articles. It will help the editor improve the impact factor as Aman was saying. Secondly, keep your words and pages to a minimum because every word and every page counts, it costs, so keep it to a minimum. Find a journal which has a sweet spot for your article. What we found was ACTA has a sweet spot for trauma. World Neurosurgery has a sweet spot for endoscopy and skull-based articles. So direct your articles towards them. And network. It always pays to know the editor. Even in New England Journal of Medicine, the most articles are published within 115 miles of the editorial office. Why do you think so? Because everybody knew the editor. This is one myth which I want to really break, and I want to take my time on this. You cannot really publish unless you don't operate. It is a myth, and it is a defense mechanism used by many people who can't publish, saying that if you don't publish, if you publish, you don't operate. Unless you operate, you cannot publish. It is a myth. And nothing in this world will take the place of good old persistence. Talent won't. There's nothing more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius won't. Unrecognized genius is practically a cliche. Persistence, tenacity, and determination alone is what determines your success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harsh. Now I call upon Dr. Sanjay Bihari to talk about from thesis to publication.